What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Come on in, good people. Come on in, good people. Yep, let's talk about it. We're not going to spend much time talking about this, but we are going to spend some time talking about it. Well, we're going to spend some time talking about it, but we're not going to spend much because it's Friday. Friday. What's going on? What's going on? Hey, what's going on, Mike? What's going on, Shelly? What's going on? What's going on? Good evening, Brian. Damn, that shot up 60 already. Shit. What's going on? What's going on? We are going to talk for a little bit. What's going on? Hey, Bobby. What's going on? Just got through. Hey, Rock. What's going on, Roxanne? How are you? Megan, what's going on? If you are watching this, hit that share button. Hit that share button. Let's have an honest conversation. We are going to show the video of the young lady who was shot by U.S. Capitol Police. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about a few things about, again, the arrogance. What's going on, Tammy? The arrogance of Americans. Let's talk facts, right? And then this false sense of security. We need to talk about that. We need to have an honest discussion. We had a discussion about some of the things that took place and some of the things that you missed. What's going on, Jess? Some of the things that you missed. But we're going to have a continuous discussion about that, as well as look at what Senator Lindsey Graham had to say about this given situation. You're talking about trading rights and security, trading rights for security and a check. Yeah, that. We're going to talk about a few other things too. So just go on ahead and hit that share button. Let's get those views up. Let's get those views up. For those of you all who don't know, I'm Instructor Mike. And so we're going to go on ahead and talk about this today. I hope you all had a good day. You said, do I have a second video that shows the shooter? No, I don't have the second video that shows the shooter. It appears to be one of the, I don't want to say Secret Service agent. I don't know if that's the case, but I know it was a uniformed person. Or not a uniform, but a person in dressed attire who shot the young lady. And I don't see anything that justified, yeah, I don't see anything that justified that shooting. You said she crossed the gun line, boss. I don't know, because I'm going to show you that video and we're going to talk about a few things. For those of you all who were just coming on in, what's going on? I'm Instructor Mike. You can also follow me on Facebook at Mike Brown or Instructor Mike. Subscribe to TikTok at Yes Mike Said It and Instagram at Yes Mike Said It. Also subscribe to my YouTube page. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. Man, I don't know what kind of period that we are in, but it is not looking good. It is not looking good. So let's go on ahead and dive right into it. I don't know how many of you all had a chance to see the attack that occurred on the United States Capitol. And I want you all to know that not since the War of 1812, actually specifically in 1814, had the United States Capitol been attacked. You know, I said in a previous video that there were some things that we missed in that given situation. Yes. Do I condone it? No, I don't condone it. But it's not necessarily about whether or not you condone it or not, okay? Because obviously you don't really condone the attack on any, American seat of power, because that shows our vulnerability. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about the American arrogance. Many of you all who have followed me, you've heard me say things about Pearl Harbor and, other, if you will. You said it was straight up murder? Okay, yeah, I agree. You've heard me talk about Pearl Harbor, and you've heard me talk about the little signs and symptoms, if you will, that showed that something was about to happen. I'm gonna go ahead and play a clip from the movie Pearl Harbor. Hopefully, it doesn't get blocked by Facebook for copyright, claims or whatever. If it does, we'll stop and then we'll start it back again. But let's test the waters. Here we go.
They call it the vacant sea. None of the major sea lanes go through it. And you could bury the entire landmass of Asia there, and nobody would know.
From there, they could attack anywhere.
Our last signals intercept indicate that the Japanese task force is heading south, towards the Philippines or Southeast Asia. The Captain Thurman of Naval Intelligence here has his own theory about the missing ships.
Sir, I believe they'll try to hit us where it'll hurt us the most. Pearl Harbor.
It's over 4,000 nautical miles from Japan to Pearl. That's a long distance to steam a navy, Captain. Your theory is based on what?
Well, it's what I would do.
It's not exactly hard evidence, Captain Thurman.
Well, Admiral, if I had hard evidence, we'd already be at war.
Sir, we can read their diplomatic codes faster than they can type them. The Captain Thurman's cryptology team is still trying to crack the naval codes.
The intercepts have missing words and garbled lines. So to explain the decrypts, we have to try to interpret what we think they're trying to do.
Interpret? You mean guess?
They use their informed intuition, sir.
We guess. It's like playing chess in the dark. Any rumor, troop movement, ship movement, spine tingle, goosebump, we pay attention to it. When I was in the Asiatic fleet, the locals used to try to get outside of a problem, to try to see the inside. Well, I see a strike on Pearl. It's the worst thing that could happen. A blow to Pearl would devastate the Pacific Fleet's ability to make war.
So, sir, you would have us mobilize the entire fleet at the cost of millions of dollars based on this spine-tingling feeling of yours?
No, sir. I understand my job is to gather and interpret material. Making difficult decisions based on incomplete information from my limited decoding ability is your job, sir.
Then break the damn naval code, Captain, so I can make a better decision.
Aye, sir. We are trying.
I wonder if we shouldn't put the Pacific Fleet on full alert.
And that unfortunately just happens to be one of my favorite scenes from the movie Pearl Harbor, because it does, in fact, show the arrogance of being in a free country such as the United States of America. It's always the little guy that has the ability to think outside of the box and come up with a theory of what could take place. Captain Thurman, in this given situation, talked about, well, I could see an attack on Pearl Harbor. It would devastate the Pacific Fleet's ability to make war. That's what I would do. It just makes the most sense. But, and I get it, being an administrator, you want to make sure that you're not making the move that is so costly, but it ends up being the wrong move. But how many times has there been a little guy that's had a great idea and all of a sudden it got overlooked, and that happened to have been the thing that would have saved, a given situation. And the very thing that he said would happen was the very thing that did in fact happen, and actually caught, and actually continue, or I'm sorry, expose America in essence to being attacked because we were vulnerable. It's amazing that, yeah, I got that you sent the second video of the shooting. A smart adversary typically does attack you where you think you are safe. And again, I'm gonna play another video from doggone Pearl Harbor, because you get certain look, when we got these movie writers and screenwriters who actually write things in movies, people want to say there's not realism to Hollywood. I disagree. It's fake in part or Hollywood in part, but there's a lot of realism. Here's another scene.
Pink smoke about the threat from Japan could make us lose our fighting edge. I'm determined not to let that happen.
With your permission, Captain, Admiral, urgent from Washington.
I'm supposed to keep this fleet battle ready to take on the Japanese. Cover half the damn globe. Now they want me to transfer another 12 destroyers to the Atlantic. Don't they know what we're facing out here?
They feel Europe is the greater danger, Admiral.
I'm assuming these risk assessments include Hawaii.
Well, Pearl Harbor is too shallow for an aerial torpedo attack, and we're surrounded by subnets. All we have to worry about here is sabotage. So we've bunched our planes together to make them easier to protect. Distance is our ally, Admiral.
You analysts got it all figured out, don't you? A smart enemy gets you exactly where you think you're safe.
You know, you can't overlook certain things like that. You know, a smart adversary typically does attack you where you think you're safe. You know, I think that Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham, said something that was very important, and I think we get so caught up in taking sides, we don't pay attention to, the security of certain things. That's something that was not ever supposed to happen. Not ever supposed to happen. I want to go on ahead and play a video from the Blaze TV regarding Senator Lindsey Graham's reaction to the Capitol building being overran by protesters and agitators. Here we go.
What concerns do you have with the way that Capitol Hill police handled the protest last night, and should their $460 million budget be reviewed?
Okay. One, thank the frontline officers. How could we not be prepared? How could, in a joint session of Congress with the Vice President in the building, you not do better than this? Where were the National Guard? The Black Lives Matter protest, have you seen the images on the Capitol steps where we had National Guard members in riot gear? Why weren't you as prepared this time around? Where was the Pentagon? There's all kind of stories that they were refusing to activate the D.C. National Guard. I don't believe that to be true. But what kind of intelligence gathering apparatus does the Capitol Hill Police Department and the agencies in charge of defending the Capitol have? How could they fail so miserably? We're 20 years after 9/11, right? Yesterday, they could have blown the building up. They could have killed us all. They could have destroyed the government. People coming through the windows had backpacks as big as my desk on the Senate. They should have been challenged. Warning shots should have been fired and lethal force should have been used once they penetrated the seat of government. Those backpacks could have had bombs, chemical agents, weapons. We dodged a major bullet yesterday. If this is not a wake-up call, I do not know what is. Is it a money problem? If it is, we'll fix it. Is it a leadership problem? Obviously. Is it an intel failure of the highest proportions? Absolutely. So I will end where I began. There are so many storylines for the last 48 hours. Many of them political. This one has brought us together. Bernie Sanders was as upset with what happened as I was. I was talking with Bernie about how could they come in and take over the Senate. And he said, get them out of there. To his credit, Bernie wanted a forceful response to the domestic terrorist who occupied the House and the Senate. So let's end on this note. Yesterday, the Capitol of the United States was taken over by domestic terrorists that are not patriots. They overwhelmed the Capitol Police. They destroyed the House. They took over the place and sat in the presiding officer's chair. They went through my desk, and all of us had to go to a single room to be protected. This shall never happen again. We've lost our will and our determination to stand up for law and order. And when you let a courthouse be attacked and nobody gets prosecuted, the next thing you know, it gets worse. To all the mayors out there who have discord and unlawful behavior in your city, get on top of it. I'm not a mayor. I'm a United States Senator. I accept responsibility for fixing this problem. How do you fix this problem? You adequately resource those in charge of defense. You hold those accountable. And if they fail, you fire them and you prosecute the lawbreaker. All of these images of people sitting in these chairs, in Pelosi's speaker's chair, office chair, we know who that person is. They should go from sitting in the speaker's chair to a jail cell. Thank you.
You know, I will say that what I can say about the attack on the Capitol is that you saw the government freeze because of the will of a portion of the people. Call them whatever you want to call them. You can call them patriots. You can call them domestic terrorists. That is you. But I will say that not yesterday, but the day of that attack, you saw the seat of power with both chairs, both houses of Congress, pause, where everybody had to go into a single room. And they were relying heavily on the police to protect them. Some people could say, how could the police fail at doing their job? I don't know if I want to call it an absolute failure, more than I want to say it was them not being adequately prepared. How can you not know that something like this could happen? Why? Because we are arrogant as Americans. And I think that it is more the feeling of the blanket of security than the actual blanket being there. And it's easy to sell it when the media will push to you images that the government will mess you up. Well, that attack tested the limitations of that. As one commenter has said, they could have messed way more things up, but they did not. I don't know how many of you all actually had a chance to see the video of the officer who was retreating when being approached by agitators and protesters. Here it is. This is Commander Richard Marcinko, or Marcinko, however you say his last name. It's either Marcinko or Marcinko. Those of you who don't know who he is the originator, the creator of SEAL Team 6. He entered the United States Navy in 1958 after being rejected from the United States Marine Corps because he had not graduated high school. He then graduated through the ROTC commission program, and then he, entered into the UDT SEALs. He was tasked with creating SEAL Team 6. Among other things that he did, he actually created a team, typically called Red Cell, where he tested the vulnerabilities of naval bases. And his test with his team of 12 SEALs and 1 Marine Force Recon Marine, led to the embarrassment of higher naval officials. And because of that, he was blackballed and charged with illegal arms sales, and he ended up getting a federal prison sentence. This is what they do to people who test the vulnerabilities of this blanket of freedom that we think we have. So, those of you all who look at those people who dared to challenge the security blanket that we think we live under, you're missing the bigger picture. And maybe because you never served, maybe because national security doesn't mean anything to you, but for those who have served, for those who get it, for those who understand that it's not a black thing or a white thing, it's an American thing. That test on the United States Capitol not only exposed the United States and embarrassed us, not only did it show that the will of the people can actually be greater than the government itself, it actually opened us up to more terrorist attacks by people who are more brazen enough to actually commit the violence that Senator Lindsey Graham was afraid of. And instead of punishing these Americans, don't get me wrong, they get what they're gonna get, but they knew they were going to be punished. How about we start to actually come together as a country? We spend more time talking about if it were black folks, they would have been killed or it would have been more presence. But because it was white folks, it was able to happen instead of the fact that it should never have happened. It should have never happened. This too is also something that should have never occurred. And the fact that it occurred is more embarrassing than this conversation itself. It should have never occurred. We also saw a young lady, I don't want to call her young, middle-aged lady, a veteran of the United States Air Force, lose her life because she was fighting for what she believed in. Whether she was right or wrong, she still had the brazenness and the boldness to fight for what she believed in. You're tickled that you know that I know about him? Oh, I'm smarter than people think I am. Let's watch this.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
So in playing that video again, which we're going to play, you see the police officers who were on the other side. There were police officers on the other side who did not stop her from breaching. The same deadly force that would authorize the one officer to shoot would have also authorized them to shoot as well. She was unarmed, and while she was trying to breach, she wasn't going to be successful. She was executed.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
he is going to have a hard time trying to justify that shot. That should have never been allowed to happen. But I will tell you this. Though the Capitol Police were looking like this, they were looking rather weak. Maybe, just maybe, if leadership actually cared more and actually took threats seriously, maybe, just maybe, something like that would have never been allowed to happen. Never been allowed to happen. This is Instructor Mike, and you've been trained. We're not going to spend too much time talking about it, but we will be watching to see how this all unfolds. Yeah, sad situation. Let me know what you think in the comments. Follow me on Facebook at Mike Brown or Instructor Mike. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Yes Mike Said It. Subscribe to my YouTube page, Instructor Mike. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. Make sure you find yourself in someone's concealed carry class. It's no one's job to protect you but you. I'll see you.